Pastors and church administrators, do you ever feel overwhelmed by the details of managing your church's finances? Are you worried that you might forget something or make a mistake? Is the weight of the responsibility of managing your church's finances heavy on your shoulders? We at SBS Accounting and Advisors understand that managing your church's finances can have many nuances that can not only be confusing, but can also be critical to the church's financial and operational success. Join me today as we discuss 6 must-know tips for managing your church's finances. Hi there, I'm Jonathan Bill with SBS Accounting and Advisors. As we discuss these 6 tips for managing your church's finances, we must first understand that this is about more than just money. It's about being a good steward of the resources that God has given you. In order to do that, you must first view it as God's money and then adopt His mindset for handling money. Tip number 1, save money. It's important that you have a safety net built into your church's finances. This can only happen if you purposefully set aside money for the future. As we have seen with the recent pandemic, anything can happen. At any point, the government can step in and tell you to close your doors. A natural disaster can happen, and you can show up with unexpected damage to your property. God forbid your church could split and you could lose half of your tithing members. Or the inverse could happen and you could explode in growth so rapidly that you find yourself needing to expand immediately. No matter the circumstance, if you do not prepare in advance, you may find yourself in the unfortunate circumstance of having to cut salaries or lay people off, or perhaps you end up having to borrow large sums of money from the bank with interest. The easiest way to save money is to build it into your budget. Tip number 2, learn the fundamentals of budgeting. A budget is a wonderful tool that can be used to make sure that you aren't overspending in some areas and underspending in others. It will also help you to plan for the future. Just as in your own personal life, it is a good idea to create a budget for a church. A budget in its simplest form is a statement that you will not exceed spending in a specific area of ministry for the budget year. This can be expanded by adding multiple line items within a ministry to further track what is being spent and how. Not only will a budget help you not overspend within an area, but it can also help you to expand other areas. As you tighten the financial reins in one area, you can free up resources to fund another area. It's always a good idea to build a little cushion in your budget so that you don't exceed what you brought in for the year, and also so that you can save a little and set it aside for whatever may come in the future. As simple as budgeting is, it's not possible if you do not keep track of your donations and expenses. Tip number 3, keep track of donations and expenses. If you are not currently doing this, I cannot urge you enough. Please start doing this now. When it comes to proper accounting, you must have a record of what you're bringing in and what you're spending. We suggest using a software like QuickBooks Online, coupled with a good church management app like Breeze, to help you with this. There are a lot of resources out there. You may find that you already have access to a software like this as part of a church management software that you're currently using. If you are already doing this, then you know how it can help you plan for the future. Obviously, in ministry, we can't become expectant of donations, as they are reliant upon the fortune of others and their own spiritual walk with the Lord. But keeping track of donations, aside from the legal ramifications, will also help you to plan for future budgets. And tracking expenses, as explained under tip number 2, will help you to manage what is being spent and aid you in your effort to not overspend and to save money. No matter how you look at this, managing the church's finance is a weighty responsibility, and we want to encourage you to be transparent with those on your leadership team. Tip number 4, offer transparency with your leadership team. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 11 that where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Transparency with your leadership offers you several benefits. First, you now have accountability. All too often, people in leadership and authority of finances fall prey to the temptation of cheating the system. The best way to combat this is to offer accountability. Not only does this prevent those in charge of the finances from doing something that they shouldn't do, but it also gives the church members comfort in knowing that there are other people checking on the finances and making sure that everything is being handled above board. Second, you now have access to more wisdom and knowledge. As questions about finances arise, you now have a resource pool to ask questions and seek answers from. These leaders can aid you in your search for the right way to handle whatever financial decisions may come your way. And third, you're no longer the only person responsible. This means that if questions arise about the decisions that were made, there are now others who can answer those questions too. You no longer have to be the only person with the answers. No matter how many people are involved in making financial decisions, one of the best rules you could ever follow is to make sure to have thoroughly vetted every decision. Never make a decision based upon an assumption. Tip number 5, don't make financial decisions based on assumptions. There's a common saying associated with making assumptions. Don't worry, I won't repeat it here. But suffice it to say, doing so tends to leave the persons who made the assumption not looking so good. It can be tempting when dealing with the weighty decisions of finance to move forward on a hunch or because of an assumption of what the future might hold. But like we discussed at the beginning of this video, this is God's money and we need to handle it with care and in the way that He would handle it. God is not the author of confusion, and so we should seek clarity before making a decision. It may take extra time, but vetting out a decision is always the best course of action. I'm not saying that you need to remove faith from the matter of finances. Nothing in life is certain aside from death, taxes, and the return of Christ, so there will always be an element of faith in making a decision. But what I am saying is that when there's an answer to be found, go find it before making the decision. Doing this, along with the other tips I've shared here today, will result in you and your church's finances being handled with integrity. Tip number 6, operate with integrity. Our witness, our integrity, is important to God. How we conduct ourselves and how we handle the task we have been given here on earth is important to God. This is true for handling His money here on earth too. Operating with integrity is not only pleasing to the Lord, but it will be pleasing to those you are serving at your church. We must remember that the church's finances belong to the Lord, but they were supplied by the members of your church. They have given it to the Lord and are asking you to steward it wisely. When you operate with integrity, you are pleasing the Lord and giving confidence to those who gave it in the first place. Even when you have adopted the mindset of God for handling His finances, it's important to remember that you're still operating within man's system here on earth. And in America, there's a lot of laws that can get you tangled up with. That's where we come in. We here at SBS Accounting and Advisors would love to speak with you and discuss how we can help you and your church serve God and use His finances legally. We want to come alongside of you and aid you as you walk through the legality of the financial system with the goal of serving God and spreading the work of His ministry. If this interests you in any way, please reach out to us by phone or by email. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to check out our YouTube channel and website for other helpful resources for you and your ministry.